Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today we're going to be previewing the conference finals between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. This will be a interesting Eastern Conference finals between these two teams. It's a rematch of the second round series last year, and I'm really excited to see what happens in this series. I think this series will be way more entertaining than what we saw last year in the second round. The Knicks, I think, are more talented this year. They've added in Bridges and Cat, also more healthy than they were last year in the postseason. In the Pacers series. Also, look at another thing with this Pacers team. They were missing Benedict Madron in that series. He's a guy who's played really well this season, played really well in this playoffs, and he's a guy that is back on the floor now for this Pacers team. And I think they've got some young guys that have really improved. I think guys like Neesmith and Nembhard, even though they were great last year, I think have really improved their games. And that's expected when you've got young guys that still have developing to do. And I think Halliburton, you could maybe even say, is I don't know. I think what I saw from him in that Cleveland series, he looks like a more improved player compared to last postseason, even though he was great last postseason. But this is going to be an entertaining series, to say the least. Now, let's get into injury report. There's not a lot of injuries for. I don't think there are any injuries for either team. The Pacers, there is one injury, Isaiah Jackson, but he's barely played all year. Now, Isaiah Jackson's a really solid player. He's a guy that played in the Pacers rotation their last series against the Knicks, but he did tear his Achilles in the beginning of the season, and that's one of the big reasons why they traded for Thomas Bryant. That was why they traded for Thomas Bryant, who has been their backup center this season after that injury. And well, they had James Wiseman. He was the backup center. He tore his Achilles game one against his former team. And that was the first game of the season that wasn't opening night. I remember watching that because that was the only game that was on at the time, and it was first quarter, and James Wiseman tore his Achilles, and then a couple weeks later, Isaiah Jackson tears his Achilles as well. It was not a lot of luck for this Pacers team early on in the year with Wiseman and both Jackson going down. They traded for Thomas Bryant. I think he's been solid for them, but Jackson is their only injury, and for New York, good for them. They don't have any injuries either. So, look, Jackson's the only injury for the Pacers. He hasn't played until early in the season. The Pacers weren't even playing that well when he got injured. Obviously, they started to play a lot of good basketball after 2024 ended. And look at from January to the season's end, the Pacers played unbelievable. So, yeah, I want to get into predictions for this series. Well, I'm going to go over predictions in this series, and then I'm going to go over what I think both of these teams need to do in this series. Now, here's the thing I will say. I'm going with the Knicks to win this game one tonight. That Madison Square Garden crowd is going to be on fire. Their first conference finals game in 25 years. That crowd is going to be really loud tonight. And something I've pointed out, and I pointed out last night, and that's why I picked Oklahoma City, and I'm gonna point it out again tonight, is the team that has more rest in these playoffs. If you look at what happened in the second round, you look at what happened last night with the Thunder Timberwolves. The team that has more rest in the previous round does not go well for them. You look at the last round. In the second round, the Minnesota Timberwolves, Golden State Warriors. We saw the Timberwolves get more time off than the Warriors did because the Warriors had to play a 7-game series against the Rockets, and the Timberwolves had to play a 5-game series against the Lakers. What happens in the game? Minnesota, who was a great three-point shooting team, has one of their worst three-point shooting seasons of the entire season, probably the worst, only making 5 threes, not making a single three for about the first 2.5 minutes the first 2.5 quarters of the ball game, and they lose by 11 points, and we're down by as much as 20 in the game. All right, so that was one of them. And this is for every case in the last 5 game ones we've seen. Then you look at the other matchup, the Thunder versus the Nuggets. The Thunder had a lot more time off than the Nuggets did because the Thunder were killing the Grizzlies. They swept the Grizzlies. The Nuggets had a 7-game series with the Clippers. Nuggets won Game 7 with them having less rest. Then what we saw in the Eastern Conference, Boston had more time off than New York. New York, had a 6-game series with the Pistons that I don't think ended until it didn't end until like a Boston series ended on like a Monday or Tuesday. New York series ended on a Thursday, I believe it was, or yeah, it was a Thursday, and so Boston had a lot more time off. New York won the game one, and then the Pacers and the Cavs. The Cavs swept the Heat. The Pacers beat the Bucks in 5. The Cavs had an extra day or two off than the Pacers did, and the Pacers won game one. And then you can look at last night with the Thunder and the Timberwolves. You saw what happened there. The Thunder had less time off than the Timberwolves. Timberwolves ended their series in 5 games, a couple days, around 3 days before the Thunder did when their series ended in 7 games. So, and you saw them win tonight. What happened in these two series? The Pacers series ended a little bit before the Cavs. The Pacers series ended on a Tuesday, and the Knicks series ended on a Friday. So the Pacers had a lot more time off than the Knicks, and that can seem like a good thing, and that might be a good thing as the series goes on. But in Game 1, it's been proven in the last round and the second round, and the Thunder Timberwolves that having more time off doesn't do you good, and that's what we've seen in the last 5 series. And so that's why I'm going to go with the New York Knicks winning Game 1. And then getting to Game 2, I don't see the Pacers going to their home court down 0-2, so I'm going with the Pacers winning Game 2. Next, what do we have? We've got Game 3, which will be in Indiana, and that will be every game is in between days. So, Game 1 is tonight, Wednesday. That means Game 2 is Friday, and then Game 3 will be in Indiana on Sunday night. And we'll see that Game 3. I'm going New York winning Game 3. And at this point, look, I forgot to even say this. Pacers, all they've got to do in this series is win one game, and it's better than they did in the conference finals. I'm not saying your goal should be, as long as we lose in 5 games, it's okay. I'm not saying that. But all you've got to do in this series is win one game in the series for it to be better than it was last year, the conference finals. But if you're the Pacers also, you don't want to start off a conference finals like they did last year, where you have a big lead and blow it like they did to Boston last year. That's one thing you do not want to do. And this is a New York team that can come back in a game. You saw it against Boston 3 times in that last series. But so moving on, I got New York being up 2-1. And I've got the Pacers winning Game 4. Look, I can already picture it. Halliburton's got that fan that was brutally attacked by New York Knicks fans. I wouldn't say brutally, but he was attacked by Knicks fans at in New York. And I could already see Halliburton going crazy in Game 4, him putting on this crazy performance and TNT showing the dude. And after the game is over, Halliburton celebrating with him. I can already picture it. And the Pacers tying up the series at 2 to go to New York. Then Game 5 in New York. This is a situation. This is a must-win because most times when a team goes up 3-2, you see them win the series. And I'm going with the Knicks to win Game 5 at home. I think they have the advantage being at home. Then Game 6, are the Pacers able to send it to Game 7? I'm going to go with the Knicks winning Game 6 and winning the series in 6 games. Me personally, I like this Pacers team. I wouldn't mind to see them go to the NBA Finals, but I really want to see a Knicks versus Timberwolves series. I'm not a fan of any of the 4 teams that are in the Final Four. I like Anthony Edwards. I really like Jalen Brunson as well. I like Halliburton. It's not like I don't like Shea, but I don't like him as much as I like Brunson, Ant, or Halliburton. So I'm happy with really anybody that comes out and goes to the NBA Finals. But the matchup I love the most is the Knicks versus the Timberwolves because you've got the trade that we saw last offseason with the Randall DiVincenzo facing New York in the NBA Finals, Cat facing Minnesota in the conference finals. I think a lot of people, what they don't also look at is how about Tom Thibodeau facing his former team in the NBA Finals, the team that he used to coach for in Minnesota. So there's a lot of history between those two teams, with Randall and DiVincenzo's history with the Knicks and Cat's history with the Timberwolves, Thibodeau's history with the Timberwolves. So I would be really interested in that series as a person that doesn't as a person who doesn't have any interest in these teams, even though I like some of them. I like the Pacers. I like the Knicks. I like the Timberwolves. I want to see Timberwolves versus Knicks because of the matchups, and I think it's very interesting. It's a rare trade where you look how both trades worked out for both teams massively, for the Knicks and Timberwolves. With the fact where both of them are in the conference finals now, and one of them could be in the NBA finals. I think most likely it'd be the Knicks, but we'll see. This is going to be a great series, though. I think this is going to be a much better series than the Thunder and Timberwolves. I believe we'll see what happens tomorrow night in Game 2 with the Thunder and the Timberwolves, and how that series might maybe shake up a little bit. But I think this is a much better series than what we saw. Than what we're going to see with the Thunder and Timberwolves. I'm excited for this series to start tonight on TNT. All games are on TNT, though. And this is going to be the last conference finals on TNT. Very sad. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and peace out.